Hello YouTube, welcome back. Today I'm going to be making a video on Hack the Box machine Mango, which is rated a medium box. This machine is actually a really good box to learn NoSQL injection, and this is one of the boxes if you are preparing for OSCP and the TJ Null's OSCP guide of Hack the Box machines. So basically, what I did was I already started auto recon, and if you are preparing to do the OSCP like I am, this tool right here is definitely a godsend. You should definitely be using this to practice on different machines, and as you can see, this is the output. It does run everything it does enumerate everything, so it's found 3 ports, and it further enumerates those ports. So I've already went to the directory, and as you can see here, there's different text files with the information. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check the full TCP nmap scan. And what you can see here is that we do have the 3 ports, and it tells you what they are. So we have port 22, port 80, and port 443. So if you are preparing for the OSCP, there's actually a video made by Al Hazred, who is a really good InfoSec Twitch streamer that you should check out, and I'll link his OSCP prep video in the comments below, that he talks about some tips for being successful in for the OSCP exam. And one of the key things is that he talks about is triaging. And triaging is basically you will get, like any regular real life pen test, you'll get a ton of ports open, right? And your job is to pick to actually differentiate the ports that you think will have a higher attack surface. So that is like port 80 right here and 443. These 2 are going to be the top ports to do further enumeration compared to port 22, which doesn't have that high of an attack surface, which is very rare to even exploit SSH to get exploitation. So it's definitely important to start practicing that, of being able to get ports and pick out which ports to start enumerating on, because you have to be efficient. And he highlights and emphasizes on efficiency when you're taking OSCP. So like right now, I'm going to be starting enumerating port 80, right? And we're going to see what exactly that does. But before we do that, I've already started burp, and it is good to run burp in the background. So all you have to do is turn your intercept off, and you can have your HTTP history here, and it'll just collect requests. So you can like go back and look at different requests you made to that website. And I've already added here HTTP mango.htb and HTTPS, since there is running on port 443, and I did mango.htb just because it's easier for me to remember a domain compared to an actual IP address. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to go to 10.10.10.2.162, and I'm going to put here mango.htb. So now when we make requests to this website, mango.htb, it's going to look into our etc host folder, and it's going to see, oh, okay, this is going to this IP address. So that's going to be helpful for us. So we're going to open burp, our Firefox, and we're going to check http://mango.htb, and we get a forbidden. So, okay, so we get a forbidden page here, and the next thing that I'm going to do is just always look at the page source just to see if there's any comments, and I don't see anything. This is just standard 403. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to run ff just to see if it actually picks up anything. And I honestly, what I do is I run sec lists, the big .txt, compared to the Discovery Dirtbuster 2.3 medium, because this has proven to be more efficient in finding information. So I'm just going to let that run in the background, and I'm going to look again at my nmap scan, just because since 443 is running, there's a certificate, right? And certificates usually have the common name, and as you can see here, it has a domain. So this is also important because you can see that it has the domain here, mango.htb, but it also has a subdomain, staging order, which we should definitely put in our etc host file to check. So let's go back again. We'll do sudo gedit and we'll do space staging order. Let me make sure I type it correctly. So we can just copy and paste this here. And we'll save. And then I'm going to actually add this to my to my burp suite again, so that can be picked up. And cool. So now what we can do is, just to show you again, you see that it actually showed us the different requests made to Mango. So this is why, again, I like using burp, just because I can go back and look at different requests. So what we're going to do is, let's go back here, and you can see FF didn't pick up anything on this page, so but let's check out staging order. So we get staging order dot mango HTB, and we get another page. So basically what we can conclude actually so far from this is that there's a virtual host running on the server. And basically what a virtual host is that because you have a domain, a subdomain here, it's being routed to, it's using the same IP address, but it's being routed to another web page. So this is really interesting. So what we can do is, a good thing is to fuzz these things, just to see if there's another subdomain running. So what we can do is f of vhost fuzzing, and let's look at how we do this. Here we go, vhost discovery. So we'll do the subdomains and we'll put the website, and this is how the host header. So let's do f of tag http / mango.htb, and then word list again will be seclist discovery. And what we're going to do is, I think it's under content, and let me, I think, let's go back again and let's see, DNS, yep, it's under DNS, sorry. And we'll do, let's do subdomains top 1 million, and then we'll do the tag H flag for host. And then we can look here and we'll do host fuzz website. So host fuzz mango.htb. And what we can do is we can put the threads to 150 and CIC. And I did not mean to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to filter the word. So filter W20. There we go. So that's a lot better. And if it does pick up anything, it will pop up here. So in the meantime, we'll keep playing around with this. And since we do have a login page, let's try to do admin, don't save, nothing. Okay, so let's do administrator, nothing. Admin, nothing. So there is a login page here, right? Which means that maybe we'll try to we'll have to find some default credentials to either brute force, or maybe there's some type of injection that goes on here. So I'll put this in the back burner for the time being, and I'm actually going to go and see what the HTTPS website has. So mango.htb, and we we get a Google lookalike page that looks interesting. Let's see if it runs. So test, 0 results found, Mango, nothing. Again, we'll look at the source code just to see what we can find. And again, looking at the source code is really helpful because you'll see directories like here, analytics. So we can open that in a new page. As you can see here that this is sending a post request, the search method text, so it's taking input as a text into the search field and sending it as a post request. And that's pretty much it. There's no hidden comments or anything. So what I'm going to do is let's look at this analytics page. And you have some errors over here, which looks a lot interesting. So let's see. We can do some open, connect. So we can connect, we can export. Let's see, open local report. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually create a file here, and you can see, yeah, the fuzzing didn't pick up anything. So let's do echo this is a test, and let's try to upload it here and see if we can actually get anything. So and it seems like all files, here we go. And nothing, we don't get anything. So let's try and intercept this through burp. Well, actually we can see this here. Burp. So actually I'm just gonna intercept this request. So we'll go open, local report. And nothing, because it doesn't pick it up. So there's nothing going on here. Let's see, let's try to, I'm going to try and change this to an XML file. And let's see if that actually works. So we'll do test XML, open, and nothing. We don't get a message saying that successful, anything. So I'm not going to interfere or interact with this application anymore. This will be more of a back burner. And again, when you're doing like OSCP, it's important that you are practicing the moving around. Don't get stuck on one thing for too long. Set a timer for 15-20 minutes. Once that timer goes off, move on to the next one. So let's see. So next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run ff and make sure this does not have any other hidden directories. So ps --mango.htb, and we'll let that run. So in the meantime, what I'm going to do for this login, since I don't have a username or a password, I prefer to brute force if I do have a username, because it is a lot better to brute force. It's just because it will take longer to brute force for both username and password. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to test this for a SQL injection, but it's not a regular SQL injection. So because the name is Mango, I'm going to assume this is dealing with some type of NoSQL. So because if we can do admin : it should have an error and test, and we'll forward that, and we don't get anything, right? So this is, Mango is the closest thing to Mongo, which is MongoDB, which is a NoSQL database. So what we can do is actually we can just go here and let's do go payload all the things, NoSQL. And payload all the things is definitely something that you should have in your repository. It is one of the best GitHub repos for different commands, different testing, of just different injections and stuff like that. So let's look for NoSQL. Here we go, NoSQL. So it gives you a brief description of what NoSQL is. And what I'm going to do is let's do an authentication bypass, right? So this is basically saying we have a username and a password field, right? And we want to add this in here, which is NE and then NE, and then you just add whatever information. So let's copy that in. And we'll go here. I'm going to take this, and again, this is one of the best things about having a proxy running your things through burp, because you can just go here and send this to repeater, and now we can just edit this around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the single quote out, and I'm going to copy $NE. I'm going to put here just random things. So I'm going to put here NE. And if you look back here, because we said post request, we got a 200 okay. And it's always important to look at the response sizes as well as the byte size. So let's go repeater and send it, and you can see here we get a 302 found, which is different, which means there was an injection. And also the bytes is 4,324 bytes. So this means that there's something that actually worked, because, so let's go back and let's just remove this part here. And send this again, and you get a 200 okay, which means there was a error, or the injection didn't work, and the byte size is different. So we know that this is actually running MongoDB, NoSQL. So now, like any other injection point that we have, we should enumerate usernames, because if we do have usernames, that's going to be very useful in trying to get passwords out and being able to possibly SSH in. So I'm going to check that FF did not return anything interesting, and yeah, you see analytics returned, we already checked that, and index.php. So let's focus our attention to exploiting this NoSQL injection. So let's see. So what we can do is we can do little extract of information right here. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to use the regular expression data. Okay, so what we can do is we can try to see if there's a user admin in the box. So let's go back to burp, and we're going to do $regular expression reg x colon, and we're going to do, it starts with admin, and again, because we don't want it to fail, because if we do just send this, you get a 200 okay. So we're going to do $NE test. So if there is a user named admin, then this will find it, right? And so let's look. And we do have a admin username. So the reason why I always do admin is because I like to check if there is an admin username. If there wasn't an admin username, an admin user, then we would just manually have to enumerate the letters. So for example, we can just do a dot one. Okay, so this means that there is something that starts with an A, but if we do B, for example, you get a 200 okay. And what this command is saying is that, is there a username that starts with the letter A and anything after it is at least one size? Yes, okay. So let's do 2. 302 found, which means so the size is at least 2 characters. So we'll do 3, and we can keep going, and now let's say we have 7, right? You get a 200 OK, which means that the username length is less than 7. So let's try 5. 200 OK, so which means let's try 4. So right here we found out that the username is 4 characters long, or well 5 including the A, right? So that's 5 characters, ADMIN. Okay, cool, so we have that. So now what we have to do is let's look at the second. So let's try AA, and let's do 3. 200 OK. Okay, so let's try D, 302 found. So this is how you can manually enumerate the username, as well as what we're going to do is with the password, right? But the password, as you can see, it's going to take us a lot longer, so we're going to actually use a Python script to enumerate this. So another thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to check if there's other characters here, that other usernames, right? So let's do A. So we know there's A. Let's do B. Let's do B. No. C. And obviously, if you want to, you can automate this and make a Python script, but I'm going to just cheat a little bit. So I'm going to do like G, nothing, L, and then I'm going to put M, and we get a 302 found. So there's another username that starts with the letter M. Okay, so then let's redo this process, and let's do point dot, and we'll do 2, just to see if there's 3, and if the name's 3. Yes, okay, so let's change it to see if it's 4 letters long. It is. Is it 5 characters long? It is. Is it 6? No. Okay, so we know that it's 5 characters long. So now let's see. Let's start with A again, and we'll do, is it 3 characters? So we'll do 3. Yes. Okay, cool. So now let's check if it's B. No. Okay, so we know that it starts with an A, second letter MA. So now we'll see the third one, and we'll change this to 2. We'll do A again. Nope. B. Nope. And again, I'm going to cheat just because it's going to take some time, but you can do this automate this, and we see there's a 302. So let me check with a G again. So you get a, you get a 200 because I didn't change this. So let me do that, and you get a 302. Okay. So now let's check O, because there's another user named Mango. So we know that there's a user named Mango. Cool. So we got those 2 out. So what we can do here is I'm gonna just create a BI user.text, and I'm gonna put your admin Mango. Okay. So we got 2 usernames. Now, since that's working, let's just remove this, because we don't actually need to even have this username injection, because we have 2 valid usernames. So we can do admin, and now the key thing here is to enumerate the password. But like I said, the enumerating the password can be a little bit complicated, because it is going to be a lot of time. It's just going to be time consuming. Just if you, just look how long it took us just to find 4 to 5 password username, 4 to 5 character username. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use a Python script that I got online, and I'm going to call this boot.py. And basically what it's doing here is just going to import the regular expression module, requests, and strings. And here the character chars is string.ascii letters plus string digits and string punctuations. So it's going to be taking all the letters in the ASCII table, all the digits, and all punctuations, special characters like dot, whatever. So we have our URLs here. We're going to start P as an empty string. Our number is going to be 1. And the password length is going to start as 1 because you can't have a 0 password length, right? So what I'm doing here is while our password underscore length is less than 12, because when I did this script, I actually edited this because I knew the length of the password. So again, we can do this again by doing regular expression, and we can do a dot $11 and send that. You get a 200. So then we'll see we can do all the whole alphabet, right? E and so on and so forth, right? So what I'm going to do, so I'm just doing 12 characters, but you can also change it as you wish. And this is just going to print the current letter of P, and then it's going to keep going until it finds the password, right? So it is important that you put allow redirects false, because if you do, the script will just hit the redirection, the 302 redirect, whenever it gets a correct script, whenever it hits correct password attempt, and it will break the script. So that's very important. So what we can do is we can actually just run this python 3 boot.py, and it's just going to run. And what we're going to do is we're running first for the user Mango. So this script is just going to keep going until it hits that 12 character, and as you can see, the final password is this for the user Mango. So I'm going to go to vi user.text, and I'm going to go up here and I'm going to copy and paste this password here, and now we're going to do the same thing for the user admin. So let's open our vi root script, and what we're going to do is let's change the username to admin. There we go. And now this request is going to do the same thing. It's going to take a little bit of time, but it'll come with the password. So let's let that run. And yeah, as you can see, this is all the character set that we got from the string. It's even including the special characters. So it's definitely something really good to have in mind when you're creating a Python script. And yeah, so we'll let this run. So in the meantime, I'll talk quickly about other things that I do for preparing for the OSCP. So anytime you have credentials, it is very important to write them down and try them on any service that you have that is taking in credentials, that is SSH, login panels, FTP servers, anything that takes in a credential, make sure to use it, because sometimes the easiest way in, or even the most easiest privilege escalation, is going to be trying to figure, it's just passwords. So here we go, we just actually finished brute forcing the password and we got this one. So I'm going to write this down and copy and paste it. So now, like I was saying, so we have passwords, right? So, and we have SSH. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to check if this user admin can SSH in with this password, and if not, I'm going to try Mango, and if not, then we'll look at something else within the actual web page. So let's do SSH admin, and that's not the password. Okay, so let's do Control C, and let's try Mango. Let's see, I think I copied this wrong. And nope, oh, that's why. I actually messed up on the password length. So the password length is not 12, it's actually it's 16, so I do apologize for that. So we can just go to root again, root root.py, and we can change this to Mango, and let's change this to 15. And let that run again, just to double check. But as you can see here, we actually got in SSH as the user Mango. So now what we can do is let's see if we can switch user. Let's see, ls tap LA, and there's nothing in here. So let's go back and let's see, cd admin. And here's the user flag, but permission denied, which means we have to actually pivot to the user admin. So let's try again and see if this user password for admin will work. Again, password reuse is very, very common. So switch user admin, and we are. So password reuse is super common. You will see this in the real world. Please try it out. Anytime you have one password, make sure it's not reused. If it is, then that's an easy way in. So now we're in, and we can read the user.text flag. And now what I'm going to do is we're going to check for privilege escalation. So privilege escalation. I'm going to go to I'm going to run limppies, and as you can see here, we got the correct password. So my apologies on that. So we're actually missing an H. So let's change that again. And let's go to 16. Okay, so we'll let that run in the background, just so you can see that the password will be found. cd // cd desktop HTB. And then I'm gonna switch to my limp piece directory, and I'm just gonna copy this, and I'm actually gonna set up a Python sudo python 3 HTTP server. And I usually like to work from the temp directory or the dev shm directory, which is writable by everyone. So I'm going to do wget http :/ my IP address, and I'm going to make this executable. There we go. So another thing, it is allowed to use limpies on the OSCP. Now, you need to have the most current version because it won't automatically exploit the services. And so just make sure to update this to the latest version on GitHub. But yeah, so it's a good thing for enumeration to run limpies. So while this is running, I'm just going to run and make sure and check, just start looking at the output to see if anything's standing out, anything's interesting. So this is just the pseudo version could be vulnerable. So definitely that's an area to check. And just gonna look at some different things. Running processes is always good to check. These seem like standard processes that are running as as root user. I don't see anything here. I'm gonna keep looking. And there is a listening port here, which is not a standard port. So this is a thing we could enumerate by setting a remote port forward or local port forward to this machine, just to see what exactly 27017 is. And the reason I say local port forwarding is that because we were actually able to SSH it to the machine as Mango, we can basically set a local port forward and open a port on our system and use an SSH into the system as Mango. But if we didn't have SSH privileges, or we couldn't SSH into the machine, then we would just do a remote port forward, which we would just run the SSH tech R command from the victim machine and then SSH to our Kali machine. So it's definitely a good trick to know to distinguish between the difference and when to use one or the other. So we see here that there's a group admin here, which is definitely interesting because it's highlighted in yellow. And I'm gonna keep looking. This is just saying about SSH. So the next thing in this script that I'm looking at is SUID binaries. So here we go. So this SUID binary, it says the group admins, which we are actually a part of. If we looked, we were part of the admin group. So what we can do is, this is not a standard binary, right? Linux binary. So this is going to be our privilege escalation vector. And the reason why I said we're part of the group binary is because if we scroll all the way back up, we can see here checking pkexec, admin identities, and we're in the group admin. So what we're going to do is we're going to exploit that JJS. So let's double check, make sure we don't have sudo attack L. Nope. Okay, so let's go. I'm going to go to GTF opens just to see if there's a F opens to see if JJS is actually in here, and there it is, and we have it as SUID. So what we can do is we can actually just run this whole command. So we can run this, or because again we can run this as a root user. What I'm going to do is I'm going to write to a file, and I'm going to write my public key to the root's authorized key, which allows us to be able to get access to the system by SSHing in. So I'm going to copy all this down, and let's do JJS. Cool. So now we'll do this, and then we'll go back to GTF opens. We'll do this, and then the file to write to is going to be the root authorized key. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to do root tech.ssh authorized underscore keys. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open another window, and I'm going to do cat SSH public, and I'm going to copy my public key in here. And this is another trick, a good trick to use whenever you're doing a pen test, because this is going to allow persistence, which means it's going to allow you to SSH anytime and the box is up. If you lose connection, you can SSH with your private key into the machine. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do fw.write in our data. So I'm going to do fw.write all this, close that, and let me check. We'll add that. And then fw.close. Exit. And now let's try to use SSH tech IDRSA and root at 10.10.10.162. And here we go. And now we can go to cat root.text. And here we go. We were able to SSH into the machine using our private key as the user root. And that's the box. So just a quick roundup of what we did. Basically what we did was we took a NoSQL injection from Mango and the reason why, again, I assumed it was a non-SQL was because of the name Mango was just close to Mongo, and trying a regular MySQL injection was not working. So again, any assumptions you have, hypotheses, it's good to test them out. So I thought maybe this is a MongoDB server, so testing it out worked, and we were able to get bypassing using burp. And again, burp is your best friend when you're trying to do any web application pen testing, because all requests are being collected, so it makes it easier for you to go back and forth and to see what the request and response was. So we were able to enumerate the passwords using some regular expressions, and this allowed us to find exactly what we were looking for. And as you can see here, again, you can find the exact length of the information by just going up by 1 and then 2, 3, and we were able to write using a Python script. We were able to actually brute force the password with both the usernames because the password length was going to be long, and doing one at a time would just take time. And again, remember, efficiency is key when you're preparing for the OSCP. And yeah, and that's the box. That's Mango. I hope you enjoyed this video. And yeah, I'll definitely see you guys in the next one.